John 19. Then Pilate took Jesus and had him flogged. The soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns, put it on his head, and put a purple robe on him. And they came up to him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" and were slapping his face. Pilate came out again and said to the people, "Behold, I am bringing him out to you to let you know that I find no guilt in him." Now it was the preparation day for the Passover. It was about the 6th hour, perhaps noon. Pilate said to the Jews, "Here is your king." But they shouted, "Take him away, take him away, crucify him." Pilate said to them, "Shall I crucify your king?" The chief priests answered, "We have no king but Caesar." Then Pilate handed Jesus over to them to be crucified. Therefore they took Jesus, and he went out, carrying his own cross, to the place called the Place of the Skull, which in Hebrew is called Golgotha. There they crucified him, and 2 others with him, one on either side, with Jesus in the middle. Pilate also wrote an inscription and put it on the cross. It read, "Jesus the Nazarene, the King of the Jews." It was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. When the soldiers had crucified Jesus, they took his outer garments and divided them into 4 parts, a part for each soldier, and also the tunic, which was seamless, woven in one piece. So they said to one another, "Let us not tear it, but cast lots for it, to decide who gets it." This was to fulfill the scripture, "They divided my outer garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." Standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother, his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that hour, the disciple took her into his own home. After this, Jesus, knowing that all things had already been accomplished, to fulfill the scripture, he said, "I am thirsty." A jar full of sour wine was sitting there, so they put a sponge full of the sour wine upon a branch of hyssop and brought it up to his mouth. When Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, "It is finished." Then he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Since it was the day of preparation, the Jews did not want the bodies to remain on the cross on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a special day. They asked Pilate to have the men's legs broken and their bodies be taken away. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first man and of the other who was crucified with him. But coming to Jesus, when they saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. But one of the soldiers pierced Jesus' side with a spear, and immediately blood and water came out. He who has seen this has testified, and his testimony is true, and he knows that he is telling the truth, so that you also may believe. For these things happened to fulfill the scripture. Not one of his bones will be broken. And another scripture says, they will look on the one whom they pierced. After these things, Joseph of Arimathea, who was a disciple of Jesus, but a secret one because of his fear of the Jews, asked Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate granted permission. So he came and took away Jesus' body. Nicodemus, who had previously visited Jesus at night, also came, bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds weight. So they took the body of Jesus and wrapped it in linen cloths with the aromatic spices, according to the burial custom of the Jews. Now, in the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. Therefore, because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there.